We are back with a late IHP show with your 5D mystic. Let's chit chat for just a few on our lovely divine feminine front as our 5D ascension energies have kicked off some really amazing harmonizing topics, at least for us here at IHP. So healthy, secure attachment, healthy self-worth, the 5D collective. Those are the unconditionally loving divine feminines, divine masculines, and with the enlightenment of you don't have to feel that you're in that enlightenment soul age group, but you're expanding your consciousness thanks to having the priority of living mindfully and or spiritually, and spirituality is a part of some of you, like for me, faith, God, Jesus, source, universe. You use all different words. We bring it all together because science is also in here, and it shares with us how our restorative embodiment self is that optimized human being that is your embodied brain. So our embodied brain will continue to serve the life you are. Now, if you don't welcome the life you are, okay, so that 0-1-year-old, that's where our unhealthy, insecure others are going to be on a different frequency. That means they don't welcome open-hearted business, okay? So open-hearted means you love yourself first. Like on an airplane, you put on that mask, and that's why it's only with self-love, self-compassion. That means you have flaws, you have humbleness, you have integrity. We don't get picky with words. We know that a conversation is a discourse. You don't take it out and pick it apart. The people who take shit and pick it apart, they're trying to make their own unbridled self-expression, which if they do, it's for their own platform, it's for their own idea. But my point is, when you're hearing somebody else speak, we can make fun of each other. I'm doing it all the time, right? With 1 sentence, 2 sentence. So we'll tease those very topics again that we will be, it will be, I can tell you what I don't like and do like. You'll all know this. I like human love narrative people. I don't like human suffering love. It's pretty straightforward. It doesn't mean I'm right. It means Maria has an opinion. So the divine feminine here can let you all in on a fun fact. 5D mystics. I'm using the word because of, again, for my background, my frequency, okay, not a list. But one, the 5D collective involves people who have Christ consciousness, oneness consciousness, one and in the same. It is integration of the brain. So you also know prefrontal cortex, compassionate, physiological, restorative embodiment stance. And so it's not a criteria to be here, but when I'm speaking, that's the way I'm speaking from, which I won't always say because we're building the community. So I'm going to be expecting that those who look 5D, they know it's Christ consciousness. So you know about Christ and love and forgiveness. And then you'll hear and you'll say yes or no. Things resonate, don't resonate. So if you're ready to be a healthy, self-worth, securely attached 1-year-old, you're going to still stick around. If you don't feel that it is something you like, it'll be like, I don't like it. I want to still be mad at people. Okay, so you're going to go somewhere else. Or I want to be special. I want to be different. Okay, so with that being said, we like being, use your human name. I have a human name. Divine feminine here, knock, knock, who's there? A divine feminine of her own oversoul who can tell you all, I have 3 twin flames. And then I have soulmates and more than just this. But these are the 5 that come to my mind when I share some of my stories. Then there's others. And so we can have this, we can have 20, we can, okay. The twin flames is tree, 3. And long story short, we are not in any way, shape, or form afraid of living without them, the twin flame. So it was 2007, but I had already met all of them prior to that. And in 2007, I was expecting the first to come back around, even though I didn't have familiarity with my clairs. By the second round, I was like, wait a minute. And I was expanding the concept of love, and I got to expand it. I got to move into my polyamory status. Then I got to get to number 3. Now that one was fascinating. And at that point, I was like, okay, this is the one. And I learned, no, it's not. And once again, I found myself getting familiar with my clairs, and then I got soulmates. And at that point, I looked to the past. I said, wow, I have been able to do all these things So you will look at, with the T1 all the way up to T2, emotional, mental mastery is what was taking place. By the time I get to T3, I'm doing emotional and physical mastery. And that's where I had already gotten the updates and downloads on where we were at with the planet and stuff like that. So in none of these instances was I afraid of losing any of these people. In fact, I didn't. And that's because we're not afraid of losing. You can't lose people. They don't fit in your pocket, okay? Oh, I don't have fear here. So when I hear those who have created something called the trend with twin flames, although they'll describe it to you in this whole, I was awakened as Maria prior to them. Why? Because it's your self that is your soul, the 1-year-old of you, the 3 to 7-year-old of you, your child parts, the way that I get taught by our trauma attachment experts, because that's your subconscious and conscious. So if you really want to do yourself a benefit, it is to move into complete, healthy, secure attachment, divine feminine or masculine, doesn't matter. And that's with a good therapist, because you get to do EMDR, child parts work, and somatics or sensory motor. In all indoor cases, you get all of those child parts uncharged. But what is happening is you are learning to self-attune and self-regulate when unknowns, unexpecteds, unwanteds hit, and to learn how to open a heart and to keep it open by your conscious choosing, with or without Jesus, with or without yoga, with or without Sadhguru, with or without, it doesn't matter. This is the point. So that's why some of those twin flame coaches talk about us as bad therapists. We're not therapists. We care about what we do. I care about you being you, and your inner and outer well-being. And the divine feminine here, not even once was I afraid of losing my twin flame. I don't lose them. They're always in my sphere. And when people try to be in my sphere, the divine feminine is going to be the nurturer of unconditional love. So when I say in my sphere, it's not with unconditional love. When I have in my sphere divine feminines that are true and divine masculines that are true, they're going to be gooey. They won't be talking to me about my oversoul members with characterological distinctions, judgments, talking about any type of magic, dark, black, whatever the words they want to use. So when people begin to address any of my oversoul with those words, I've said, excuse me, I'm a 5D mystic, not here. What are you talking? You don't know me. I have clairs. Yes, I do. You can have all the clairs you want. Get out of my sphere and my space. Thank you so much. So this is where I'm being quite polite and trying to have you understand what it means for divine feminine to have any other person with mysticism, little clairs, address the sphere that is basically my own space and then my own relationships. And it is something called, I have healthy self-worth, boundaries. You're not in my relationships. I didn't ask you to. My name's Maria. What's your name? Okay, so don't keep on trying to make us be one, because that's what enmeshing, non-differentiated, codependent type, unhealthy, boundaryless, porous boundaries people, they do. So it's not an energy vampire. It's an insecure human being who wants to be like Mean Girls, but I'm not Mean Girls and I'm not Hangover. My name's Maria. I have healthy self-worth. I'm a differentiated self. Stay in your lane with your energy, your thoughts, and your everything, and let's talk like differentiated selves who link. So what I present to all of you in this discourse is that a divine feminine, like a divine masculine, will be able with their manners to do what I just did. And again, I'm addressing you, but the reality is when I've ever had any of the insecure people, I don't handle it this way. I handle it in my energy sphere by getting them out of my energy sphere, and I was never afraid. That's what I was saying. With twin flames, there's no fear. Actually, with that, it's more like, wow, that was really, wow. So there is something and more that I was like, what the fuck? That's fucked up. And I know what, and you don't, but it's okay. So when you're here, you'll know what I'm laughing about, because we won't be putting any of our soulmates or twin flames on pedestals. We won't be putting them in any other place except for they're an ordinary ordinary human being like I am. So they will have this choice point to speak to me like a decent human being. And that's about it. And to respect like those other ones. Okay, so no fear, because fear is only for physically threatening situations or panic attacks. That's my fear. But when it comes to people, yeah, people aren't scary. They're either healthy self-worth, which is going to be really fun, and when they're not, well, I'm a divine feminine. I don't like to say no, but if I really must, I will. And you all know my lovely story of, am I not decent enough to be saluted? Oh, that was funny. And then I had some recent shit I got to handle, and that was really easy too. And then I got to do it again recently. I was like, okay, come on, practice nervous system. Yes, get calm. So I learned how to have fun with my nervous system as it dysregulates based on other people who are dysregulated. And then they're in my energy sphere because they don't know how to handle the ascension energies. Oh, I forgot. So there are stuff going on. That's why today has been a full-blown day. Anyone who doesn't love to love, yeah, they don't do well with 5D ascension energies. It's called not securely attached. Human beings who have insecure attachment and who don't want to go get good childhood trauma therapist, and they still don't, and that's, not my job to do anything about. But if you are 5D, that means you're harnessing the opportunity to pursue inner growth, open heart, and the flow state. So when unknowns, uncertainties, and unexpecteds happen, you like to learn how to use integration of the brain. And so you enjoy flexibility, adaptability, coherence, energized stableness. You enjoy mindfulness. And that's why you're here. You enjoy spirituality. The Zen master with laundry, he must not enjoy putting into practice his prefrontal cortex. We all know about unknowns, uncertainties, and unwanteds. That's the very aspect that you're left. The ego will work with the right. The self is how I'm organizing it. So if you don't have harmonization between your divine masculine, divine feminine, it's because you don't have self-regulation, which means then, like I keep saying, go and get your child on board. Become an inner child adult. Watch yourself. Be playful, exuberant, just like Sadhguru, and liberated, not because you have to do yoga, because you know how to tone your ventral vagal nervous system, because you want to be in your restorative embodiment, because you're a self-aware, accountable, regulating person. Divine feminine here. Never once out of my 3 twin flames was I'm afraid of losing you. No. I will learn what's going on with or without you knowing how to speak to me, because that's how my brain works. And that's how my heart works, because I unconditionally love you. And then because I know that if you don't have the basic common consistency of communicating, there's something up with that. But it's none of my business. I will figure it out by the time I have talked to you 3 times, because that's all I need to hear you correctly. If I really want to make sure, because I haven't gotten it, then I will try 5 or 6 times, which is why, as I was saying in one of our episodes, I can accept that I can be just as inquisitive and insistent as any other person. That's why someone can come in and say, but you can be a pain in the ass too. Yes, I can. And that's also why we don't say, I will always be perceived as somebody with healthy boundaries. No, I could be perceived as somebody who won't leave it alone. What is the giveaway, though, the tell of a healthy other versus unhealthy, is I won't be shaming, blaming, faulting, revenging. I won't be attacked. I won't attack your character. I won't let me blame you or say something in a way of your being someone that's being mean to me. I'm going to be looking for what is a functional adult conversation to get clarity. I'll be sharing vulnerably what's going on. I will be asking specific questions. And the people who have healthy self-worth, they know the difference. It's only the ones who don't have healthy self-worth that don't know the difference. So once again, divine feminine, 5D mystic, we won't be afraid of losing anyone, because the reality is you can't lose people. They choose to go silent, because if a person has no interest in building intimacy and vulnerability with you, that is the answer to a person who isn't engaging with you out of their whatever it is, even though it's the amygdala. So why would I try to make you want to be interested. You see, this is the other part. Their amygdala is alerted to what's of interest. So you want people you love to be happy. Why would I force you to pay attention? I'm so sorry, but I found it ridiculous when I got to meeting all these 4D individuals who just said, oh, but you have 3, that's why you're practiced. Prior to this, by the way, some of them, yeah, they thought that I had issues and problems. And they got to inflame, oh, now I know it's a true deal, because now that I see it and experience it, now I can relate to it. Yeah. So this is the part of where when people can relate to something, they don't look, oh, I'm so sorry for calling you crazy, whack job, for thinking you had issues. No, they don't know how to actually tell you the truth about what they thought. This is the funny part. But again, it's okay when someone has not the capacity to have what is real cojones. We don't mind. It's better that we have nothing to say so that we don't have to address that, which is my facade friend. I keep thinking about him. My facade friend is why I don't have a big deal with any of my twin flames, soulmates, and all of those people in my lovely sphere whenever they've been around, because he showed me, he's a really good friend of mine, and he showed me how facades don't hear you. It's because of those moments where we converse. So you might not know the story, but 2 days, all I said to my friend, well, a lot of things, but one of the specific things was, I didn't ask you to be anything except for yourself. It's all I'm asking you. Be yourself. Don't be a facade, and tell me how things are. Nobody asks you political correctness. I don't need you to be politically correct. I don't need you to play nice. I don't need you to do, this is formalities. What are you doing? I'm like family. What is this? And he's the one who showed me that even if we're family, he still doesn't know how to be himself. And the therapist answered to me, so anyone who has low self-esteem, even just a tiny bit, don't know how to have what is called a cojones to divine feminine. So I'm not afraid of twin flames losing any of them. By the time I even got to the first one, I already had a bunch of situations take place, so I wasn't surprised at any of what came, and it wasn't devastating. And it's not because of us that the 5D ley lines are settled in, although I definitely know of the transformation that the earth went through. But we have like a huge galaxy with all these stars out there, and again, I'm humble. So the intelligence is dark matter and dark energy. And God, for those of us who want to use the word Akash, source, again, it's love, the heart of the sky, spirit of the sky. So at the end of the day, when you hear the ones who are afraid of losing their twin flames, think of the 1-year-old. That's what it is. The way that I heard it described by all these people, and the waves, it's just because they're a trending topic now. So, people need to have a group. But as for twin flame, if you do have one, you'll know. And you'll know because there's no way you won't know. But you won't know it just because of a group. You'll know it because you'll know. That's sad. They don't appreciate anything. No, because they're not mystics. The masculines, I'm saying. So, well, wait, I lie. There's some that are masculines. Forget what I said about that part, because that's true. I forget. As time moves forward, it is completely something that's different. So you'll just know which one you are from your oversoul. So there's divine masculines of the oversoul that know of their twin flame. But in my case, I'm a divine feminine. So mine are divine masculines. And then I know when I meet divine feminines of my oversoul. And divine, not divine, is not a big deal either. So again, welcome to all of those who will be joining us. And if you have questions on the twin flame stuff, I'm happy to share some of it. You definitely go through expansion, transformation, but it's not something dramatic or that you won't know if you are a divine feminine. In fact, if you're not, that's the part of where those divine masculines, they're left mode and ego's in the lead. And it would be a really good idea for them to go get some good childhood trauma therapists so that they could get it together, and then eventually maybe think about their twin flame. So the connection doesn't go away, but there's a whole story for that one. And there's a really great one and more coaches out there for any of you who want, and you feel that you want that. That's why they're there. I'm just letting you know that divine feminines aren't afraid of losing a twin flame. So we will know who they are, what's happening as it's happening. Even if we don't have answers, we'll be able to answer them in time. We'll know that. I knew by the 3rd, eventually, that you know what, just wait. And there's a bunch of stories though, because I was falling in this like long like hole in the ground. It's a figure of speech, but it was in my mind's eye. And I'm like, when is it ending? When I get to the bottom? Finally, at a certain point, I got to the bottom, like Alice in Wonderland, and I don't remember how long it took, but I got to the bottom, like, okay, thank you. Finally, now I need to get up. And as I walked up or climbed up, then at a certain point, my heart went to the sky and infinity and beyond and back. And then I met my rainbow child. Yes, my rainbow indigo child, and that one was just fabulous. So, and that's when I began to see. And then I got my rainbow heart back. That was really fun. And then I got more. I found out we do have earth babies. And then I found out more of my lives. And so, see, divine feminine. By that point, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Look, did you notice all of these things? Wow. I'm so amazed. And I get to share it with my lovely community and those masculines, of course. And so that's the fun part. The ones who are mystics, not the ones who don't believe in any of it. No. So twin flames, again, we are not afraid. We will get to go through the positive and negative charges of two sides. It doesn't have anything to do necessarily with your child parts, but I'm saying you'll know that you are exploring the extreme of this beautiful positive, and then the other end. But again, it's not tragedy like that Zen master, but it is like one of the cards I have from an oracle deck. So just watch one of Tara Brock's videos on how to move out of the limbic system and into your prefrontal cortex. And she talks about it like the waves, being pushed around by the waves. So you'll know, oh, wave, and you're going to, surf it. And so you're not saying it's laundry. You're saying, hey, I'm going to surfboard. So you're just going to surf the ocean. And sometimes you're going to laugh, and sometimes you're going to say, fuck you. And sometimes, I don't mean fuck you. I'm just really upset right now. I stubbed my toe, and, it's, and then you have fun with it. And you keep on having fun with it. So come on over to have fun with this weird whack job of a 5D mystic, pseudoscience woo-woo lady. But it's fun for the mystics. Come on, 4D every time. I thought they would be over it. They're not. I have confirmation. So again, the ones who have upset, there's great 4D mystics out there for you. So if you don't resonate with love, I know why. And it's okay, you don't have to be in a frequency of love if you don't want to. But, like I said, you can be. And that's because of the taking care of your core self, your narrative, relational, and solo self. And getting yourself up to par with the secure attachment body. Because that's your self that we're talking about. And that's your prefrontal cortex workout. And that's where you begin. And then, when you're ready, if you want, you can say, okay, I want to. Or you can say, I don't want to do it. I'm going to go follow the Elsa journey. I'm going to have fun over there. And that's where we're going to say, okay, do we want to stay friends, 4D? Yeah, cool. Okay, it's not because you're 4D. You understand? It's more of consciously being aware, like the Zen master. If he would say, I don't know, maybe he does say, I'm consciously aware that I choose to say it's laundry because that's what I want. Okay, so you're okay with staying on that neutrality belt and below, though. Some of us were on the high. So don't tell me you're toxic positive and that I can't always be on and that I can't love and be blissful and that it can't be easy for me to think and feel. It can be easy for me to think and feel. It's you that don't want to get here, which you don't have to. And so this is where we're moving into a space of there are those who have healthy self-worth. 5D mystics, we won't be afraid of losing anyone. You don't lose people. If they love you, they don't skip out on town. And that's not because they don't love you if they do. It's if they love their self, then they know how to not skip out on town because they care about their herd, because they can tend to each other, because they don't have shame, blame, fault, or revenge that impedes them from consistently engaging in healthy self-worth, securely attached relationships. If instead you are frozen, well then we still have the need for the Patrick Tiahan childhood trauma therapist. So it's a sad business, not a Lucifer evil business or a I don't love you at all business in the way of that extreme tragedy story that those who are distorted, divine feminines, make it out to be. It's a sad story. And so again, you care about yourself, then you'll care about love, and then you'll get yourself to be the person you want to be in life for real and not pretend. And for real means that you're proactive. and that you know how it works to treat people. And how that works is that it's consistent communication, not silent treatment, and not in and out, and not mixed information and mixed signals. And this is men and women, by the way, in general, besides the mystic stuff. I've seen women who tell me about men who are bothering them, but that's not true. Because the minute I turn around, I turn back, they are actively making their way towards the men that they just complained to me about for like 30 minutes, and they put themselves on the lap with their arms, and they're smiling and flirting. And I think, wow, why'd you complain to me for like half an hour about that? I just saw you with my eyes. And that's where the therapist will inform us of not securely attached human being, not taking accountability, not learning to regulate, not any, and ask them about the man and the bear, and let's see what they say to you. This is why gender stereotypes and all of these little trending topics aren't what the solution is. What the solution is helping people understand what healthy self-worth is. So if you don't know how to be a consistent communicator and present yourself consistently, to me, you're still a Cusco who's a teenager who doesn't have secure attachment to the world outside of attachment trauma information, especially if you're no longer an insecure human being who's growing up. You're a grown-up. But we got grown-ups who say, am I not decent enough to be saluted, as they're drunk and out and picking on a person who consistently communicated that I don't want to be your friend. And they think they taught me common courtesy or decency or some shit like that, because that's their passive-aggressive way of deflecting that which is their own inner child insecurity and porous boundaries. And even if I told them, they wouldn't take themselves to therapists to get that healed, because they'd be like, it's not true. You're just a bitch. I just told you off. You see, I taught you some manners and you didn't like it, because that's how Cusco works. So we don't bother with Cusco because Cusco's annoying and he's a liar. And even at the end, he lies. And guess what? It's unimpressive, which is why we won't be afraid of losing anyone who's unimpressive. The minute you lie to me, you're unimpressive. My facade friend taught me all about people who don't know how to be themselves. And therapists tell me all about how you can all be yourselves. And if I'm ever in any way, shape, or form annoying, I'm sorry, but that's going to tell me that there's something going on, like and dislike. You can tend to it if you want. You don't have to. I'm not speaking to you to be liked all the time. I'm just speaking. I don't mean anything unless, I do for you, which would mean, though, that I'm interesting, that you're caring, you're having a good time. If you're annoyed, then you won't be here, because you won't be using your time in places that you're not having a good time, which is why, again, I'm not really going to make it my mission to change who I am. I'm going to know that you're going to be here if you're enjoying it, and if you're not, then you won't. And if you're reactive, I'm going to say you can learn how to self-regulate and to really just not be here. But I'll make the most of what you share with me, and then I'll say thank you for your time, like our naysayer who gave me the best of the best of the best of feedback. He said, pseudoscience, self-help. He added the words pseudoscience bullshit and self-help crap. And that's, subjective. It's his idea that it's those two words. But it is pseudoscience, and it is self-help. So he was right. It just depends who's watching it, if they like it or not. Which is why I can be stupid lady or smart lady. Well, I don't know about smart, but you get the drift. So again, welcome aboard to all those who will be back. Thank you for stopping by.